The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. If you miss an episode, you can go to the mainstreetcode.com and check out all the YouTube shows, or go to Apple or Spotify if you're driving in your car and you got nothing better to listen to and you want to hear my old episodes. It's all good. You can always reach me at 631-647-4694 and talk about your own personal situation. And that's what we're here for. So when we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the United States with insurance questions and life insurance, disability, long-term care, annuities, and life settlements, which have become more and more prevalent because of the affordability and the long-term insurance policies that aren't cutting it anymore. So we're involved in multiple areas. We're completely independent. We represent 30 different insurance companies. So we give independent advice all the time. And quality advice is to giving you the correct direction. If you're looking for an insurance product, the right insurance product, not the one that's going to pay, more commission or not commission. We don't charge for our appointments. We do make commissions in any products we do sell. And we do give advice to... We've been hired as expert witness in insurance matters, as well as handling life insurance, long-term care questions and stuff for clients and product if necessary. So it's not always an insurance solution. Sometimes it's a multidiscipline solution, and we help put the multidiscipline people in the room together, whether it be a lawyer or reverse mortgage or whatever it is. We handle all that for you and help you come to solutions that help your life. So particularly crazy times with the tariffs coming into effect and Liberation Day, we're going to have a stock market that is being battered right now. And it brings to mind multiple different things. First off, diversification is very important. It could never be more important than it is today. And for those of you that don't understand diversification, it's having all your eggs in one basket. So diversification means, and especially as we get older or closer to retirement or at retirement, we need to be in more fixed income things than not. But diversification means having things that are maybe in growth, maybe things that are international, maybe things that are in fixed assets like gold or bonds or fixed annuities, savings. So you want a variety of different vehicles, because when some markets go up, other markets go down. And when some go down, other goes up. So, for instance, what happened in the last 2 days is the market is going down. So there's all kinds of activity buying bonds. So the price of bonds go up. When the price of bonds go up, interest rates go down. So the Fed is probably now relooking at cutting the federal rate because of all this activity on bonds. So all this purchasing of bonds is going to drive the bond prices up while the stock market goes down. it also drives interest rates down, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. So if you're looking to buy fixed investments, now is a great time to buy fixed income annuities because of this whole effect that's going on. And if you wait, you won't take advantage of the higher rates you can lock in today because the rates will be going down. Now, this flurry of activity is creating a lot of uncertainty with people. I understand it. The other flurry of activity is jobs and federal and civil work, and everything has a cause and effect. When the market goes down, when the price of goods go up, everything changes our personal lives. And, people used to say, "Oh, that's overseas. What do I care about that? Oh, that's over there." No, this is very real. These tariffs are very really going to affect us all financially. And if we lose our job and this, how do we prepare for all these things? And I'm not saying take a flight to safety, sell all your stocks and buy bonds. No, absolutely not. The market will rise again. I can't tell you if it'll be tomorrow, next week, next month, or in 10 years. I can't tell you that. I can give you guarantees that most investment professionals are not allowed to give guarantees. I can give you 3 guarantees today that I'll put in writing, on the air, or anywhere. 1, the market's going to go up. That's guarantee 1. Guarantee 2, the market's going to go down. Guarantee 3, one day you're going to die. Okay? These are guarantees. These are going to happen. And with most probability, you're going to need some sort of long-term care or become disabled. The percentages are there. So are you protected and are you covered? Are you diversified? That's my message, main message for today, and things that you need to come in and discuss to make sure that you have proper balance. One of the other things I'd like to talk about today is compound interest. For people that don't know compound interest is always told a miracle of mathematics. It's not really a miracle, but it's a mathematically miracle when you understand it. But it also can affect you negatively. And what does compound interest mean? Compound interest is when you have your principal that you put in money. Let's say you put in $100,000 into something and you gain interest on that money. Let's say it's 5% for argument's sake to make it $105,000 after a year. Well, it's like letting it ride when you have compound interest, because if you make 5% the next year, you're making it on top of the $105,000, not your $100,000. That's what they call compound interest. It's compounding your principal and the interest you've already gained on your principal. Now, our problem federally, internationally, is our national debt is compounding negatively because we're paying interest on money and we're borrowing more money and loaning more interest, which is why the tariffs went into effect. And this is not going to solve the deficit. But again, this is our largest thing that our government owns is debt. And debt can compound negatively. Not only that, let's talk again about compound interest and the effects it has on you. You buy a fixed annuity or an index annuity, and it can only go up, and it compounds and grows within a tax-deferred vehicle. So you're not paying taxes on it as it grows. So it's not depreciating as it grows. Very important. The only way to keep up is to not be paying taxes and for that money to compound. And that's how an annuity works. It compounds without paying taxes on it until you need the money. Then you pay tax on your gain. But that compounding effect is huge. Let me tell you where it affects you negatively and something you should look out for. If you've been buying mutual funds like in your 401k forever, which is great, I love mutual funds, but let's say you're buying them outside your 401k and they are great vehicles. One of the things that happens is if your money goes down by 10%, let's say you put in $100,000 and it goes down by 10%. It goes to $90,000, right? Next year it goes up 10%, but I'm only at $99,000. Why is that? The mutual fund says, oh, you did zero. Up 10, minus 10, you did zero for those 2 years. But truthfully, you lost money because 10% on 100 is a lot more than 10% on 90. You've been listening to the Main Street Code. We're at break time. If you want to reach me, 631-647-4694. We'll be right back after some commercials. Thank you. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. Before the break, we were talking about the turbulence in the market and diversification and compounding, and all of these are sound financial tools that you need to understand, and moving forward, you want to address. I'm going to switch topics a little bit and talk about the Medical Information Bureau. Who knows what that is? It's called MIB. No, we're not talking about Men in Black. We're talking about the Medical Information Bureau. It's very relevant, and I'm in the middle of a big situation with the Medical Information Bureau, as I am on a regular basis. And you'd say, but I thought, Neil, you dealt in insurance. Well, the Medical Information Bureau is like a credit report that insurance companies use to offer you coverage. It's also a way for them to protect themselves against fraud or misinformation. And what happens is when you go to the doctor and you follow a report and it goes into the medical information, or you apply for life insurance, what life insurance does is they'll get your medical reports because they want to find out how to assess the risk. How do I assess the risk? Is this person healthy? If they're not healthy, am I going to give them coverage? Or am I going to charge them more because they're not so healthy? That's how life insurance works. It's sort of a gambling thing, but you got to understand they're taking the risk of insuring you at very low cost dollars. So they want to make sure you're a good risk. That makes sense, right? Okay. So one of the tools they use is the Medical Information Bureau. Now, there's a couple things. You go to the doctor and your wife is complaining or your husband's complaining, he's snoring a lot. Okay, fine. So the doctor is going to recommend you need to get a sleep study. Why? Because if you don't get a sleep study and you're snoring and you stop breathing because you have sleep apnea or you have a sleep disorder, you could die. So you say, I'll just take pills or I'll put this nose thing on and maybe the snoring slows down or whatever, and you don't bother going to a doctor to get a sleep study. Guess what? They're not going to give you life insurance because you didn't follow up with that suggestion of seeing that doctor for a sleep study. Or the doctor says you should see a doctor, my stomach hurts, you should really see a gastro person because, I've been hearing a lot about this and you got to see that person. You don't go see that person. The insurance company is going to say, you know what? I may give you insurance, but I want to see what that stomach person says first. This is very important. Okay? So understand that. Now, you apply for life insurance or disability insurance or long-term care, and an insurance company says, you know what? I see something in your medical reports. I'm not going to offer you coverage. This is a situation I'm in now. I have a 74-year-old gentleman who came to me wanting a large amount of insurance. He's worth a lot of money. Why does he want life insurance? Well, he's financially well set. Well, there's a thing called estate taxes when you hit a certain point, that there are federal estate taxes and local state taxes if you die, in New York State or any other state. There's two different taxes that can occur after you pass besides income taxes. And life insurance, if properly structured, can be estate tax-free if it's set in a trust. So why does very wealthy people buy large sums of life insurance. That's why. Plus, they can leverage a lot of money that would be taxable and depreciated to their heirs. And this way, they can either pay the tax or have a buffer, to pay the tax or minimize their tax exposure, which leaves more money to their heirs. So in any event, this gentleman did not let me know, but he was declined back in 2017 for buying insurance, and now he's trying to buy more now. In 2016, apparently his doctor wrote in his report that he had cancer, and he was following up with another doctor on this cancer. I broached my client on that. He said, I've never had cancer. I don't understand what doctor reported that. So we had a code from an insurance company that said it was his regular doctor had coded he had cancer. He went back to his regular doctor, and he says, this has been going on for 8 months, by the way. And his doctor says, I never wrote that in your report. I don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. Okay, would you write a letter that's saying that? No, I won't. I mean, it must have been from some other doctor's records. We went back to the MIB, and we were able to obtain his report. Now, there isn't too many insurance people that I know of that have ever done this. I do it on occasion when I have to, and I did it, okay? We went back to MIB and said, okay, what was the doctor's report? We nailed it down to a day in 2016, and we were able to obtain that doctor's report, even though the doctor didn't have it in his records anymore and the client didn't have it in his records, where he said, oh, yeah, he has this cancer. He has to follow up with this other doctor. So it was in his report. He just made a retraction. He went back to his doctor again, showed him what the report said, and the doctor made a retraction. Guess what? Now I'm able to get him coverage. This has taken me 8 months, but this was preventing him from getting any insurance coverage, and there's already been several insurance people who've walked away from this gentleman and said, I'm sorry, I can't give you coverage because, there was something in a report somewhere. This is the key, is know what you're doing. You have a credit report. You should know what's on your credit report. Last week I spoke about preparing for divorce and knowing what's on your credit report and your spouse's credit report. You need to know that you have a credit report on your medical background. So anytime you're applying for insurance, I've got 2 words of advice. 1, you want to be as truthful and honest as you can on the application, and not deny that maybe you smoke or maybe you did this, because the underwriters will say he's a liar, I'm not going to insure him. Or B, if something's erroneous, which happens rarely and has come up in the past, you need to let me or somebody who's underwriting you know about it so you can address it, so you don't have another decline, so you can never get insurance. And we were at the point where, as of yesterday, I didn't think I was ever going to get this guy coverage. Now I know I'm going to get him coverage. Now I know I can get him coverage when many, many people have walked away. I'm now in a position to get him coverage because that one line in the report that we were able to locate back from 2016 that said he had cancer in the past, okay, which he doesn't have. He has other things going on too, by the way, but that was the nail in the coffin that said, sorry, there's no way where you're going to look at this guy. Now I got in a position where I got him a chance. I've got him an opportunity, and I've done this at my own expense, and many, 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 many hours and many negotiations to get to this point. And his doctor has written a note. He didn't have cancer. And this was a typo. This was a dictation error. Well, this could have ruined his life. And not only that, he wanted to find out if I had cancer, why haven't I gotten treatment, for God's sakes? So, couple words of advice. Know what's on your report. More importantly, I always suggest to people, make sure if the doctor has a portal that you have access to that portal. You can check what that doctor is saying and use that portal if you need to go to a specialist, and have all your data ready with you when you see that next specialist, so that all the numbers compare for your own well-being. Keep track of your medical records. Listen, you've been listening to Rain Street Code for Financial Success. I'm running out of time. I'm trying to give you some hints and advice. We are experts in the area of life insurance, disability, long-term care, life settlements. That's what we do. And annuities, fixed annuities, index annuities, indexing. A lot of things go on with your life. A lot of things are going on with your jobs. A lot of things are going on with the stock market. If you need somebody to call, give us a call. Let us help guide you through this wilderness. 631-647-4694. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily